There's always space for improvisation. In fact, in the classroom, the only thing that works is being real, because people are not machines and they don't want to live within totally structured systems. They want to be as free as they can be to be themselves. I mean, even the students are afraid to be themselves with each other sometimes. Um, I'm a great believer in certain contradictions. I think it's wrong for a teacher to spend any more than 5 to 10 minutes in preparation for any class. Um, and that 5 to 10 minutes is to check whether or not any content that needs to be transferred is relevant. Um, and then I wouldn't. I, I think that a seasoned teacher, a veteran teacher, should not spend any longer than 5 minutes in preparation for any class. No longer than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough. Um, I'm not saying zero preparation. What I am saying is think about it. Think about what you're doing. Think about, is it relevant? Does it matter to the students? And the other point, which is in contradiction to that, is I believe everything is preparation. If you are a teacher, your whole life, everything you're doing is preparation for the next class. Every single thing you do, from cleaning the bath to watering the plants to feeding your dog to going grocery shopping, it's all preparation for your next class. All of it. Because you don't know what you're going to need. You don't know what's going to be relevant. You don't know what's going to happen at the grocery store that's going to make you think, I can use that somewhere. Or one of the students in class can say something and you can say, yeah, I was feeding my dog the other day and I realized that the food in the can smelled really bad. Or um, you, you don't know what connections you're going to make. So you kind of have to treat everything as preparation. It's like there's nothing that's not preparation. Sitting watching a film is giving yourself content to discuss and talk about with your students. Watching TV, watching the news is giving yourself content to discuss with the students. I think part of a teacher's job is to be constantly thinking and analyzing everything, because you just don't know. Um, maybe what you eat for breakfast
Mhm.
is going to be the most important thing you do during the day, because maybe you'll be able to talk about it with somebody. Um, you really don't know. And when you've got a class of 20 to 30 students, they've got all these different experiences also that they can bring. And so life life that is rich with content never gets boring. So as long as you're doing something, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as you're doing something, you can find a way to make it relevant and make it important. Even if someone is stuck in their room 20 hours a day playing computer games, they can still take the knowledge they get from playing the game and use it in some way in the real world to contribute to something. Because everyone has thoughts, everyone has ideas, a lot of them contradictory, a lot of them in opposition to what other people will think. But that's okay. It's okay to have different opinions and say, "Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'll let that go. It's interesting. I don't know. I'll think about it." So, um, once again, variety is the spice of life. So, I think the teacher never knows what they're going to need. So, they have to uh, they have to be ready all the time.
Mm.
Because you might meet your students anyway. You might go shopping and meet your students, right? You might, um, I don't know, you might get on a bus and meet your students on a bus, and
Mm.
and you've got to be able to connect with them, which means bringing your life as much as is relevant and possible and positive into the classroom. You don't want to bring
Yeah.
too much negativity there. Um,
Mhm.
so I there's no need for a teacher to prepare anything, really.
Mhm.
The books are there. The books are already written.
Mhm.
The books are written by experts,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they got it all wrong. I don't know, but the books are written by experts. I mean, teaching is designed so that the biggest idiot in the world could stand in front of a class and teach something. That's how teaching is designed. The books have got all the content and all the information in them already. They've got student books and workbooks and as many books as they could possibly want, and they can download extra books if they need. So, um, it's really now. Once upon a time, it was about the teacher and what the teacher knew. It's no longer about that because you have to transfer the content from the books. Now that's nothing original. The teacher's job is to bring life to something which is dead. The subject is dead, and the teachers must bring it to life. School is a very tiring experience, but it's not just being tired, it's also being bored. Children in school are bored, so they play with things, they move, they fidget. They're not allowed to move, which is the singularly most ridiculous and stupid rule that has ever been created in human history, is that students must sit in one place and not move. I mean, we don't even ask prisoners to do that. If we asked prisoners to do that, it would be considered abuse of prisoners. But we ask children to do it.
Mm.
It's the most stupid rule ever created in human history. You must sit in one place and not move, especially if you're a child. I mean, it's almost torture. It's torture to ask a child to do it. It's torture to ask a child. Imagine you told your dog, "Okay, dog, sit in one place and don't move." Right, I mean, your dog's going to want to move its tail, it's going to want to move its head, it's going to want to roll over, it's going to want to stretch. I mean, we wouldn't treat a dog like that, but we treat children like that. It's cruel. It's a cruel and and unnecessary form of punishment because it's not like the kids want to do anything bad; they just want to be themselves. And the original reason why it was created was the factory style schooling where children were going to be expected to work in factories at long, tedious, boring jobs where they sat at assembly lines or at machines doing one thing repetitively for hours and hours and hours. And that's what it was designed for. Well, we don't have a society like that anymore. It was wrong before, and it's still wrong today. But it's even more wrong today than it was before, because at least before the social industrialists said, look, we found a way to control these people. Yay, happiness. But now we don't even need it anymore. So it's it borders on the edge of being retarded, asking students to stay in one place and not move, especially children, especially under the age of 10. It's just wrong. Children need to move. Moving is a large part of learning.
Mm.
It's a huge part of learning.
Mhm.
Most people need to move while they're learning something. And look, if something's interesting, like if you've got an interesting book, you will sit and read the book, and maybe you'll change position a couple of times or whatever. And my son is my son is very restless, so he reads a lot, but he's constantly moving while he's reading because that's how he's comfortable.
Mhm.
It's what makes him feel okay.
Mhm.
It's not because he's got anything wrong with him. He doesn't have anything wrong with him. It's just that's how he feels good. And if you put a child like that into school, they would be punished for being themselves.
Mm. True.
That's horribly wrong. Um, so yeah, the ADHD part of it comes from being tired. Yep, school is a very exhausting experience for children, and for some of them, being at home is very exhausting as well. So they get it bad everywhere. Um, then they're going to be disinterested, which means they're going to move around a lot as well, and they might just be bored. I mean, does anybody ever stop to think the students might just be bored? When you say tired, it's mentally tired, not physically tired, because they can't be physically tired because they don't do anything. They're just stuck in one place. You can't possibly get physically. And the contradiction is that moving creates energy to do things, right? That's why we have emotions, motion. It creates movement.
Mhm.
Movement is a part of the whole process of learning. Some people don't learn. Some kids don't like. There are 9 basic learning strategies,
Mhm.
ways of teaching, and one of or ways of learning, not teaching, learning. There are 9 basic ways of learning, and one of them is through physical movement.
Okay.
So basically, if you have got a class of 28 students, so 20 or 27 students, the average is that if you teach only one way, only 3 students will learn because all of the other students will have a different method of learning on average.
Yeah.
On average, nine basic ways that a learner will learn. Yeah, and 27 students. So divide by 3. That's divide by 9. You're left with 3 students. So if you teach in only one way, you can only expect to teach on a good day 3 students in the class because some learn by reading, some learn by listening, some learn by speaking, some learn through um, interaction, some learn by writing, and so it's just a variety of different ways. So the ADHD is down to so much more. Like, how can you say ADHD is down to people being tired when and not say it's part of a diet? Okay, it's 50% of students have terrible diets, at least 50%. I mean,
Mhm.
like you eat sugar before going in a classroom and ask the kids to stay still. The kids have a break and they eat a Mars bar or Snickers or some Skittles or some M&Ms. Well, that's the end, isn't it? The you can't any of those drinks with a lot of sugar in them. Sugar is more dangerously addictive than cocaine. You'll find a billion studies on the internet that show how sugary drinks make you more thirsty. So you can either be intelligent about it or you can be stupid. Now, if you want to be stupid, that's good because we've got a free society and you're free to be stupid. That's great. Good luck with your future. Right. I mean, because you're not going to have one because you're going to be too stupid to have a future. So they, they, they are allowed to do this by a society of adults around about them who've never told them the truth. It's not their fault. It's not their fault they're stupid. It's the adults' fault because all the adults allow it to happen. You can't blame the kids for being kids. You have to blame the adults
Mhm.
because because the kids think it's okay because the adults let them do it. I mean, this is the adults saying, "Oh well, it's okay to do that because it's not bloody okay." This is not
Mhm.
this is not 1840. I mean, look, I mean, it's if you've got students acting retarded, it's because the teachers are retarded and the adults around them are retarded because the students are just copying what the other people do. That's all they
Mhm.
know. All they know is what they are told and taught. That's all they know.